What's up TTFF people, and welcome to the Tucson Family Food Project. My name is Steven Cotorobles. This week we have something really special for you. We're partnering with the Community Food Bank of Southern Arizona, the Dairy Council of Arizona, and professional chef, cultural anthropologist, and ancient food archaeologist Amber Sampson to bring you a recipe with tons of flavor, calcium, and cultural significance. Cultivated by ancient civilizations such as the Olmecs, Mayans, and Aztecs, corn has been a staple in Mexican diets for thousands of years, and today's recipe is deeply rooted in Mexico's rich culinary history. With a delicious blend of flavors and textures, today's recipe has exploded in popularity, and one of the coolest things is it's really easy to make. So get ready, because this week we're learning how to make elote, or Mexican street corn. In your meal kit this week, you have 24 ounces of canned corn, 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, a half a cup of sour cream. This is a spice mixture that has 2 teaspoons of Tajin, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of smoked paprika. You have 3 ounces of Cotija cheese, 14 ounces of black beans, and we're also going to have 1/3 of a cup of chopped red onion and the juice and zest of 3 limes that will be prepared in your kit. But for the recipe today, I'm going to show you how to do it fresh. And all you're going to need to make this week's recipe is a large pan, a large bowl, and a large spoon. So the first thing I want to show you, even though your meal kit has this prepared, I want to show you how to zest and juice limes. So that if you want to make this recipe on your own, you can do so. So first thing is, when you're picking out limes for recipes, you want them to have this real shiny kind of sheen on their skin, and you'll notice that these are almost a little yellow. Those tend to be the ripest limes. They don't need to be a deep dark green. And you'll see that they look like they're full of juice. And you can feel when you're picking these out, you can squeeze them. So the first thing that we're going to want to do with really any citrus you're going to use is to roll it out on a counter. This is going to help release the juices that are inside, and it's actually going to release a little bit of the essential oils in the peel as well. And it's going to make it just a lot more intense flavor. All right, and so I can tell that these have softened up a lot just from rolling them just that little bit. So the next thing we're going to do is zest our limes. Now to do this, you can use a microplane like this, or there's smaller zesters too. The trick to zesting is you don't want to go too deep. You only want to get the very, very surface of this lime. Anything below that is called the pith, and it's very bitter. Anything below that is what we do not want. So we just want all the green stuff. And you can be as thorough as you like when you're zesting. I personally won't go too crazy trying to get every last thing, but I do want to get all these big pieces here. And because we're doing 3 limes, that's a pretty good amount of zest. So we really don't need to try and stretch it out or anything. All right. We get the last little bits out of the microplane here. And now these are ready to be juiced. So to juice these, all we're gonna do is cut them in half. And if they have seeds in them, a good way to do it is to squeeze the juice into your fingers and you can catch any seeds. These don't look like they have any. You could also juice them facing up, and then all the seeds will come to the top and you can just pick them out. Like I said, these look really good, nice and juicy, ready to go. Now there's no real wrong way to get the juice out of these, as long as you're getting the juice out. What I do is I will squeeze and I will rotate the lime in my fingers. And then that way I'm kind of squeezing a new area every time. And it's a good way to just kind of make sure that you got the most out of this. And that is how much juice you can get out of 3 limes. Now I want to show you how to chop an onion. So there's lots of different ways to do it. This is the easiest way that I have found in my years of being a home cook. I'm not professionally trained, so there's gonna be other different ways, better ways probably, but I'm gonna show you the way I do it. So we're only gonna use about half of this onion because we only need 1/3 cup. But what I'm gonna do is take off the end of this here, and I'm gonna use this whole onion, but only half for this recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the whole onion for you so we can see. So I took the ends off, and now I'm just gonna cut the onion down the middle. And then from here, we're gonna remove this outer layer of paper. Depending on the onion, you might need to remove like a whole layer of this outer skin. Some yellow and white onions tend to need to be a little deeper, that you have to peel this off. Red onions, for the most part, you can usually just lose the outside layer of skin. So now that we have these ready to go, like I said, we're only gonna use about half. For this recipe, we don't want the onions too big. This is a kind of, we don't want the onion to be overpowering in this recipe at all. So what I'm gonna do is use a claw grip. So this way I have no chance of cutting my fingers. The knife is just gonna go up against the back of my fingers here. And I'm gonna do some pretty thin cuts. And you can go as thin or as big as you want. It just is kind of personal preference. For this dish, I think a smaller cut like this is gonna be the best. And you could even go smaller if you like. The trick is never put anything you value under the knife. And then from here, same thing, I'm gonna use a claw grip and twist it a little. And then we're just gonna cut them just like that. If we wanted to go even smaller, we could make some cuts into the knife or into the onion like this. And then each cut we do will be even just that bit smaller. Now what I do when I'm getting to a point when I feel like I'm losing control of it, or these layers are starting to slip apart, I'll go as low as I can, and then once we get to a point, I'm gonna flip the onion this way, and it gives a little bit more stability while we finish the whole rest of it up. Oh, there we go. And that'll be the onion that we use for this recipe. So to start cooking this recipe, the first thing we're gonna do is heat up our 2 tablespoons of avocado oil over medium-high heat. And you'll see, so this comes up to temperature very quickly, especially in a stainless steel pan. You can see when the oil starts getting transparent or looking a little bit bubbly here, the way this does, that we can go ahead and put our corn right in. So all we have to do to cook this is cook the corn in here for about 5 to 7 minutes, or until it starts getting some color and browning and maybe even charring in a couple spots. So we're just gonna stir this a little bit. We're gonna keep an eye on it, stir it every so often. But yeah, we're just gonna let this go for about 5 to 7 minutes. And so now I can see that my corn is starting to get some color. So I'm gonna give it maybe about 45 more seconds, and then we should be good. Now all that's left to do is assemble our elote. So we're gonna go ahead and add in our 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, our 1/2 cup of sour cream, our juice and zest from those limes, and then we're gonna give this a good mix. Now we're just gonna add in our spice mix, our Cotija cheese, our onion, and our black beans. All right, now for the moment of truth, the taste test. Make sure I get a bite with a little bit of everything here. That's good. That's very good. So I get a little bit of sweetness from the corn. Lots of lime comes through. It's very big and bright, very citrusy. You also get a little bit of tanginess and creaminess from the mayonnaise and the sour cream. And the onion gives it a really, really good crunch, a good texture that it needs. Very good, very big and flavorful. I was thinking that that's a lot of Tajin to add into something, but it works perfectly in there. And the cumin is just enough to let you know it's there, but it's definitely not overpowering. Really, really good. Not good. So there is our elote, or Mexican street corn. A huge thank you to the Community Food Bank of Southern Arizona and the Dairy Council of Arizona, and especially Chef Amber Sampson for this delicious recipe. I hope you all enjoyed it, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I love, appreciate, and respect all of you, and I'll see you right back here next week with another delicious recipe. So until then, peace.